not include Maggie's feedback. When I was asking Maggie about what kind of stories we could tell and what they could be about, I said, can they be, like, does it have to be a really specific event, or can it kind of be a theme? And she made the mistake of telling me it could be more of a theme, so this may ramble a little bit. But the luckiest thing that ever happened to me happened sometime in the late 70s, which I'm not quite 24, but I'm going to explain how this works. Sometime in the late 70s, a woman named Brigid Luddy was living in a house in Cincinnati with some of her friends, going to college at the University of Cincinnati for engineering, and they were moving. They had to get a washer out of the basement of a very old house on a hill in Cincinnati and move it about 2 blocks, which in Northwest Ohio wouldn't be a problem, but in Cincinnati, just about any block you go onto is at roughly, a 45 to 30-some degree angle. And so they were not particularly large women, either of them. They're in their 20s. They're engineers, so they know how to make things happen mechanically, but not necessarily have the strength to back it up. So they asked some of their friends to come and help them move this washer and dryer out of the basement and 2 blocks away. And one of the burly young men who showed up was a man named Brigid Randolph. And he helped the woman who, spoiler alert, was my mother, move this washer a couple of blocks. There was a lot of backsliding. There was apparently a lot of cussing, which did not enter into this story until I hit about 17. But they managed to move the washer, and then they didn't talk to each other for at least another year, because my mom was dating someone else at that point. But that was how my mom and my dad met, and that gave me the opportunity to be born the daughter of a man named Brian. My dad is probably one of the luckiest things that ever happened to me, because he's awesome. When I was a kid, actually still to this day he does this with my younger sister. Whenever our grade cards would come in, he'd take a look at them. We're all huge overachievers, so they were usually pretty decent. So he would say, okay, well, you girls get to choose where we're going out to dinner. I have 2 younger sisters, and then my mom. He was the only man in the family. And so the girls would choose where we went to dinner. We'd go and we'd eat, and our drinks would come, usually some form of Sprite. And my dad would pick up his and he would say, "To smart women." And that was a huge thing for my dad. That has always been a really big thing for him. He has always talked about how proud he is of my mother, how amazingly smart she is, how amazingly sharp and willing to share her opinions on things, which are usually very valid opinions, very interesting. He was always very proud of me and my sisters and anything that we did. And that was a great atmosphere to grow up in for a girl who was very shy and not very confident. But to have a dad who was sitting there saying, "You're smart, and I'm proud of you because you're smart, and I value your opinion." It was an awesome thing. And a couple weeks ago, we went to China for a week. My next younger sister is studying abroad for the year, and so my parents said they wanted to go and visit her because we've never been to China. None of us have. And while we were there, we had a tour guide, and his name was Jamie. He was a very nice man, very, very talkative. But the first thing he noticed about our family was that there were 3 girls and a mom and a husband. And he said to my dad, "You have the family of a hero. Oh, all these girls, like, I'm sorry for you, I'm so sorry, but you must be dealing with this like a champ." And the look on my father's face was, again, luckiest thing that ever happened to me. My dad didn't say anything. He was a really nice guy. This tour guide was a great person, and I'm sure on some level it was just the way that he himself was brought up. But my dad was absolutely furious at the idea that it was unlucky to have 3 daughters that he considered smart and beautiful and capable and amazing. So that was the luckiest thing that ever happened to me, getting that washer out of a basement sometime in the 70s.